the channel. Robert Kesakos is your usual suspect. Welcome back to yet another live podcast on your favorite football updates channel. It's a pleasure to be back it's a pleasure to be back with you on this beautiful night of football. Once again, apologies for being late. We are 30 minutes late because I was busy earlier on giving a lecture to a group of people on digital marketing. That's why I'm late. But nonetheless, and that's how I missed the first half of the Conference League final between Crystal Palace and Rayo Vallecano, for which Crystal Palace are leading by a goal to nil. After 70 minutes are played, that goal by Jean-Philippe Mateta early on in the second half with the assist coming on from Adam Wharton is still the difference maker for the two sides. So kindly indulge me as we go through this one tonight, for those of you that will be joining us for the beautiful conversation and / watch along as we continue here. Anyways, it's been a long day. We did not do our morning broadcast like I'd want because of power challenges, and that situation is expected to persist all through the 1st of June. Yes, as unfortunate as it sounds, my hands are a bit tied on that one, so please indulge me. Well done, Papa. That is Prime Nasri. Hi, Prime Nasri. Prime Nasri is an acquaintance of mine with whom we share a different forum. With whom we share a forum with on Nando Global Live on our TikTok spaces where we talk more about football together. It's a pleasure to see you around, my brother. How is the game? Are you enjoying it? Are you enjoying the Eagles? That free kick from Yeremy Pino is one that will be talked about. It's one that should have deserved to hit the back of the net, but sometimes football is not that kind. It can be that cruel in a way. So, but maybe next time. But it was a well taken opportunity. Anyways, guys, you'll allow me to have our audios tested just to make sure everything does check out before we proceed any further tonight. Man, it was Kawa. Yeah, indeed. I really enjoyed it. I mean, hitting the frame twice is what I think put the icing on the cake for me. I mean, it should have gone in. It deserved to go in. It just deserved to go in. Anyways, it's a beautiful game thus far. So far, like I said, I've only managed to catch the second half, and Crystal Palace have had a couple of missed chances in there, including one from Ismail Sarr that he put on the side net, and they appear to be the stronger side, even though Vallecano have had an opportunity on the other side in just a couple of seconds ago. The question that I have, do you think all UEFA competition finals are going to be won by English teams? Because we already have Aston Villa, who won the UEFA Europa League when they beat Freiburg by 3 goals to nil. That was last week on Wednesday. And now we do have Crystal Palace here in the lead against Rayo Vallecano. If they win, they will be the second team to win a UEFA Conference League final this season. And then we know that on Saturday, we have the big one between Paris Saint-Germain and Arsenal at the Puskás Arena in Budapest, the same venue that hosted the 2023 UEFA Europa League final between Roma and Sevilla, which Sevilla won, I think, by 4-1 on post-match penalties. So, yeah, that is what will be happening. Anyways, it does appear that our audios are fine. So we'll proceed for the watch along for the rest of this game. And then after that, we'll get to our usual discussion of everything football going henceforth. I don't know if I should call that brilliant defending from Rayo Vallecano or a bit of a clumsy play from Crystal Palace, because they need to take their chances when they fall. Otherwise, Vallecano have looked dangerous in the last couple of maybe 5-7 minutes going forward. They've been creating the chances. Not yet found that neat final pass, but they are really trying. They're really trying to go for it. Here it is. That free kick. Brilliant. Yeremy Pino. It's no surprise that he's on the Spanish national team for the players that have been summoned for the World Cup. He will not be a starter, but he definitely is that kind of player that can be able to conjure up something, a moment of brilliancy every once in a while. He's had thus far a fairly good season with Crystal Palace. How would he have loved to win the final. Last year, it was Chelsea against another Spanish side in Rayo Betis, which they won by 4-1. So this time around, it is Crystal Palace, another team from the English Premier League, another team from London, are making it to the finals of the UEFA Conference League. And if Crystal Palace win here, they'll have an opportunity to play in the UEFA Europa League next season, where they should have played this season, but they got demoted to the UEFA Conference League because they lost that case for against which Nottingham Forest appealed on their violation of mild club ownership rules when their club co-owner, then at the time, John Textor, is a shareholder with Lyon. So they lost that case because they ought to have sorted out that situation before March. But who would have imagined that Crystal Palace were going to beat Manchester City in the final and win the FA Cup? I do not think they would have thought of themselves as a team that would make it to the finals in the first place, because in the semi-finals they were up against Aston Villa and they managed to smash them by 3-0. So really brilliant. I look like a KPOP fantastic right now, brother. I hate it. Please ask the league to start the season now. Oh, that is Sino Bueno. For those of you that do not know what Sino Bueno is talking about, Sino Bueno lost a bet to his brothers. He made a bet that if Arsenal win the Premier League title this season, he would tint his hair red. So he lost the bet. His hair, whichever way it looks like, it is red. It is saying London is red. That's what his head screams. London is red. And he's begging for the Premier League season to start as soon as yesterday for him to be able to dye his hair back to black. Well, mate, you're going to have to live through the entire World Cup with it, the entire summer, until sometime in mid-August, I anticipate. That is how long you have to live with it. Chipes says, hey, Robert, how are you doing? I'm all right, Chipes. I've been busy lately. I did notice, but I did miss you a great deal. I hope you're doing okay, Chipes. Meanwhile, Jean-Philippe Mateta is being withdrawn thus far. At the moment, the match winner is being withdrawn for Jørgen Strand Larsen. I remember they acquired Jørgen Strand Larsen from Wolverhampton Wanderers in the January transfer window. But Chipes, I hope you're doing okay. I hope life has been kind to you in whatever has been keeping you busy. But Sino Bueno, unfortunately, my mate, you have June, you have July, and halfway August, at least. That's 2.5 good months of your head screaming, London is red. Enjoy it while it lasts, because you may not get another opportunity. PSG has already played against Arsenal. No, that one is next week. Sorry, that one is on Saturday, 30th May. 7 p.m. East African time is the kickoff time. Originally had been set for 10 p.m., but because to make the fixture more favorable for Asian fans, but also the traveling fans, UEFA decided to bring it closer, to have an earlier kickoff than ordinarily you'd have. I think the last time something like that happened was back in 2010 for the UEFA Champions League final between Bayern Munich and Inter Milan. Inter Milan won that one by 2-0. Diego Milito, I think the goal scorer in that one. Okay, Sino Bueno says, you do not know how disgusted the people from my village see me because see me because my grandfather-in-law is the village leader. Jesus Christ, I wish I did not have to laugh about this, because as funny as it is, I know it's not funny. But it is funny. Is it true that PSG will win easily against Arsenal? If they are going to win against Arsenal, they'll definitely have to work for it, because it won't come easy. Yes, that is my anticipation about that game. They will have to work hard for it. They'll have to work tooth and nail for that one. They will have to work hard for it, because you're talking about a team that has had the best defense in Europe this season against the most attacking side in Europe this season. PSG, I think, have scored about 44 goals through the campaign thus far, and have conceded as many as 22. Whilst Arsenal, on the other side, have only conceded 6 goals, and have scored about 29. I stand to be corrected on the stats there, but those are the figures on how they look. So if PSG are going to win it against Arsenal, they will definitely have to work for it. They will not make it easy for them. They'll give them a good run for their money. Oh, Crystal Palace living dangerously against this Vallecano side. Okay. For now, it's Rayo Vallecano asking all the questions thus far. Oh, not too far away. Now is the nail-biting moment for Crystal Palace fans. It's for that moment where you have the Rayo Vallecano fans cheering on because their team is having a crack at it. And if I didn't know better, I'd say an equalizer is smelling around the corner. Thus far. Okay, so Chipes, I'll be back to give you. You say the World Cup is already here. Do you have a favorite team already? Brazil. I'll be rooting for Brazil. That's my team. Sino Bueno says, I wish I could show it to you. You'd be dying of laughter. Trust me, Sino Bueno, I've never seen you in picture. I'm only imagining, but I would imagine that you have fairly long hair, at least longer than mine, or miles longer than mine, and it is now screaming red with you have a bit of a reddish face. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Sino Bueno. Okay. I was giving Chipes a couple of statistics here. In terms of yes, PSG have scored 44 goals, 22 conceded. That means they capable conceding. Arsenal on the other side, 29 goals scored, only 6 conceded. Only 2 goals conceded at the knockout stages. Really, PSG have conceded more. I think PSG have only kept 3 clean sheets in their knockout stages, right from the playoffs. Remember, they had to go through the playoffs because they played Monaco. And then they kept 2 clean sheets home and away against Liverpool in the quarterfinals. And then they kept a clean sheet in their 3-0 victory against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Okay, so that's how they look like. But in terms of games played, they played thus far this season. They've played 16 games. They've lost 2. One of them against Sporting Lisbon during the league phase. And the other loss was also in the league phase against Bayern Munich by 2-1. Arsenal are yet to lose a single game of football thus far in the competition in as far as the UEFA Champions League is concerned. So that is the little bit of the information that I think you should be knowing there. I will be doing tomorrow, provided we have power, I'll be doing the full preview for that fixture and putting out a video on the channel. But I hope you've seen my video on the Premier League Awards 2025-2026. Okay. Okay, I've responded to the World Cup questions. No, the Simpsons said the final will be Mexico versus Portugal. I don't know about Mexico, but not Portugal. It's simply their prediction or their hope, perhaps. But Portugal is a very, very good, strong team. My only reservation about Portugal has everything to do with the manager, and other than the sort of a group of talent that he has. Because when you have players like Bruno Fernandes, Cristiano Ronaldo, Ruben Neves, Vitinha, Joao Neves, Ruben Diaz, Louis Patricio, there's that goalkeeper is called I'm forgetting. Diego Costa. Yes, Diego Costa. You have players like Joao Felix, who's had a brilliant season in the Saudi Pro League. You have all those good players. You have Francesco Trincao, Nelson Semedo. You have Nuno Mendes. Very, very good team. Very, very good team, really. That they got Bernardo Silva, so very, very good team. So I hope they do well at the World Cup. And as far as Mexico is concerned, Ochoa is back. Always there. Anyways, but we'll see. I do not expect, anticipate, predict, hope, think that Mexico will be at the World Cup final. I do not think they will make it to the finals. But we'll have to wait and see. Their opening game is against South Africa, a repeat of the opening fixture of the 2010 FIFA World Cup. Sino Bueno says, imagine a 25-year-old Chinese man with with tan skin, with red medium with red medium lengthy hair and 5 feet 2 inches tall. Jesus Christ. I'm going to save these comments and I put it into an AI image generator so that it can generate for me that sort of image and I have a look at it. So tomorrow when I return, I'll be able to give you feedback on what the result would have looked like of that image. But I'm keeping that prompt. I'm keeping it for AI to help me generate that image. But otherwise, I hope you're great. I hope whatever it is, you find a moment to smile in the midst of this all. But there's a positive in everything. Maybe next time you'll not make a bet on your hair again. At least you should have bet to have it trimmed. Maybe you didn't have looked that bad with a bald head. I'm skinny for a better image. Wow. So, in other words, we have to improve our prompts to imagine a 25-year-old Chinese man with a tan skin, skinny, with red. You've made my night. You've made my night, Sino Bueno. The positive is I will not bet. The positive is I'll not bet ever again. Thank you for making my night. Thank you for making my night. I'm now only praying that Crystal Palace win. That's my other prayer. I can already see tears in the crowds there of some of the Rayo Vallecano fans. Okay, Chipe says, it's time for me to go. Good to see you, Robert. See you next live. Thank you so much, Chipes, for always sparing a minute to at least say to say hello to us. Always much appreciated. Always a pleasure to see you around, my brother. Thank you so much for the continued love and support. I hope you do the same even tomorrow. Like I did warn guys this week, it's going to be a bit on and off. If you do not see me in the morning, just know Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited has decided to turn off the switches of power. Therefore, I'm unable to come to you. Palace versus Vallecano, what match is it? Oh, Sino Bueno, you're missing. It's the UEFA Conference League final. Last season, we had Chelsea. It was Chelsea against Rayo Betis. This time around, it's Crystal Palace versus Rayo Vallecano, and Crystal Palace are leading by 1-0. That goal scored by Jean-Philippe Mateta in the 51st minute of the game. We've had some other close moment calls, including a free kick that hit the crossbar and then the upright from Yeremy Pino. We had the side netting by Ismail Sarr. Then Rayo Vallecano have created a couple of close moments here and there, attempting to find the equalizer, but it's just not yet found them. But it's been a good final. I did not get to watch the 2003 Champions League final between Juventus and AC Milan, but they say that one was a dull one, as boring as the game comes. So, Sino Bueno has made a pledge never to bet again, at least not on his hair. Next time you should bet that you'll be going shirtless to work or in a vest every single day. Jesus Christ. You've made my night. I wish I'll live for more nights like this. I'd live for more nights like this. I can't see Rayo seriously back in my high school days. Didn't they lose 10-2 to Real Madrid? Not that I remember, not that I recall, but we'll see. Uh, Rayo Vallecano lose. Okay. Yeah, it did happen in December 2015. They did lose to Real Madrid 10-2. So I understand your skepticism about them. About them. Cristiano Ronaldo among the goal scorers in that one, as well as Karim Benzema. Karim Benzema hat trick, Cristiano Ronaldo brace, 4 goals from Gareth Bale. Danilo were among the goal scorers for Real Madrid at the time. So you're right about them. I mean, for goodness sake, Real Madrid had 30 attempts on goal. If you don't score 10 out of 30 attempts, and you're doomed. But that's one for the history books. That game was played in December 2015. That's for the 2015-2016 season when Real Madrid went on to win the UEFA Champions League. For those of you that remember, when they were winning their 11th UEFA Champions League title. They had Keylor Navas, Pepe, Sergio Ramos, Marcelo, Lucas Vasquez, Toni Kroos, Danilo, Luka Modric, James Rodriguez, Mateo Kovacic, Karim Benzema, Gareth Bale. BBC was still there. BBC, Benzema, Cristiano, and Bale. Okay. But you know what? Vallecano at one point led that game by 2-1. But they got 2 red cards in the game. They got 2 red cards in that game. So it did not help. It did not help their cause. It did not help their cause. Tito and Raul Beina were the guys that got red cards in that game, according to my sources here. We are into stoppage time. I do not want extra time. Tyrick Mitchell with a very brilliant clearance. Here they come again, Crystal Palace. Oh, come on. You ought to have played that much earlier. Tyrick Mitchell. He's gasping for air. He's gasping for air there. He's gasping for air there. You say, I was 12 years old when Chelsea won the first UEFA Champions League. Wow, that's in 2012. Jesus Christ. You're fairly young. You're fairly young. And yet you have a grandfather-in-law. Somehow. Anyways, like they say in Kiswahili, dakika zinayoyoma, Crystal Palace 1, Rayo Vallecano 0. In other words, minutes are running out. Crystal Palace 1, Vallecano 0. We're into that 3rd minute, stoppage time. Crystal Palace fans living on nail-biting edge, sitting on the edges of their seats, praying, hoping against hope that they see this one out. My wife is 20 and I'm 25. Okay, congratulations to you. I mean, that kind of commitment, that early, it's not something you see quite very early, very often. Pedro Diaz thinks he should have deserved a corner for his long distance attempt, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Taich Kamada, Maxence Lekwa, Tariq Mitchell, all showing signs of fatigue and tiredness after 90 minutes played. Oliver Glasner is busy asking the fourth official what time it is because he's desperate. He's desperate to write history for this Crystal Palace side. He's already written history last season when he guided them to their first ever major piece of silverware when they won the FA Cup. And I could see 70-year-olds who had never dreamed of such a day, and yet he did it for them. And then subsequently, prior to the start of this season, he won them the Community Shield. They beat Liverpool 3-2 in the opening game of the season. There in a penalty shootouts that proceeded a 2-2 draw in normal time. Hi Adash, hi Son of Africa. Thank you so much, Adash. Good to have you on the broadcast. Let's see. Do Crystal Palace make history? He could not keep that one on target. I can imagine the level of tension, the nerves, the shivers, the anxiety, the stomach grumbles of Crystal Palace fans, the desperation, the prayer, the hope against hope for Rayo Vallecano fans on the other side. Jean-Philippe Mateta is already dancing. And it's game over. Crystal Palace are champions. Crystal Palace have won the the UEFA Conference League. They have become the third English side to win the UEFA Conference League. The first were West Ham in 2023, and then in 2025, it was Chelsea who won it. And then it is now Crystal Palace. Oliver Glasner, as he signs out of Crystal Palace, he is signed out with a piece of silverware. The perfect goodbye, the perfect sending off for the Austrian manager in Oliver Glasner. He did guide Eintracht Frankfurt in 2022 to the triumph of the UEFA Europa League when they beat Rangers in the finals. Last season, he masterminded that 1-0 victory against Manchester City in the finals of the FA Cup. And this season, he's managed to guide them to another piece of silverware. 3 major trophies and a qualification to the UEFA Europa League. He did say, I hope we win. And then Crystal Palace, I get to sit back at home next season and watch them play in the UEFA Europa League, where they should have played this season. What better a story is there than the Eagles? Another English side has won a European final. Now, Crystal Palace and Aston Villa. Aston Villa won against Freiburg last week by 3 goals to 0. Oli Watkins, Yuri Tillemans. Actually, it was Yuri Tillemans, Emi Buendia, and Morgan Rogers that scored in that final to win it for Aston Villa by 3 goals to 0. And they said, over to you, Crystal Palace. And Crystal Palace have done their job, beating up against Rayo Vallecano by 1-0. That goal from Jean-Philippe Mateta has won them another major piece of silverware, their first ever in their debut campaign on the European continent. And they are now saying, the Eagles are now saying, over to you, Arsenal. You take on PSG on Saturday. The ball is in your court. Let's see what you do. But for now, they have written their own history. Crystal Palace won, Rayo Vallecano 0 in the finals of the UEFA Conference League. Beautiful, beautiful game of football we have witnessed, particularly in the second half that I've been privy to, that have had the chance, the opportunity to follow diligently well. It is another show of glory, of dominancy for these English Premier League sides. I remember in the UEFA Champions League, 5 of the 6 teams in the UEFA Champions League finished within the top 5 of the league phase. Within the top 8 of the league phase of the UEFA Champions League. And we had a big discussion about that. Because you had a team like Tottenham who had no business being there in the top 8, and yet somehow they were there. And yet the likes of Real Madrid had not managed to find themselves there. PSG had not managed to find themselves there. But Oliver Glasner, what a legacy he leaves behind at Crystal Palace. He's quite the legend at the Eagles. He deserves every statue in his name in front of Selhurst Park. He deserves a full stand to be named after his name. That is legendary status. That is what legends do. Things that nobody else has done before. He has done them for Crystal Palace. 3 major pieces of silverware in 2 seasons. Beautiful, beautiful. Simply beautiful to watch. It's simply beautiful to watch. Maxence Lekwa, Adam Wharton. We're talking about Jack McGee. He could have been part of this story, but he chose to leave in January. And he did win himself 1 piece of silverware. That's the FA Cup. That's what he has. Ismail Sarr, the Senegalese. He did win the AFCON with Senegal. Never mind that CAF decided to take it away and hand it to Morocco in a boardroom decision. I don't think that will stand for long. But what a story for Crystal Palace. Right from the Leipzig Arena or the Red Bull Arena in Leipzig, Germany, Crystal Palace are the champions of the UEFA Conference League here tonight. So, my hope is that Arsenal become 3rd other English Premier League team to win a European competition, because 3 teams made it to the finals of 3 European competitions. That moment of seeing that gentleman painting, engraving the name of your club into the base of that trophy is priceless. Crystal Palace are champions. Meanwhile, what that means is that Crystal Palace have won a European competition before Arsenal do. Arsenal is a team that has played the most number of games in the UEFA Champions League without ever winning it. Second to them is Atletico de Madrid. Anyways, big result there for Crystal Palace. Well deserved. Really well deserved indeed. And I think Oliver Glasner will sign out as the king of Selhurst Park. What he's done in the last 2 years is nothing short of remarkable. Steve Parish said last season that FA Cup triumph was the best moment that there will ever be in Crystal Palace's history. Maybe that will be the moment. But Oliver Glasner said there will be one more. And they may have had to drag their feet through the competition. But they have won it. They have done it. Beating Rayo Vallecano by 1-0. That goal by Jean-Philippe Mateta. So, it's done and dusted. Tomorrow, we'll be waiting for the images there from Crystal Palace. Okay, Great Dog Games, good to have you back on the broadcast. It's always a pleasure to see you around. I see you saying pork, poultry, or beef. Who you like to eat the most? Poultry any day. Chicken. Reluctant Gamer says, hey, brother. Hey. Apologies, everyone. Internet glitch. Come on. As frustrating as it is, it was an internet glitch. I didn't have much to do about it. It just happened. And let me hope I can have you guys return. Let me hope I can have you guys back. Otherwise, very frustrating. So, anyways, where do we even start? Where do we start again from? Because, anyway, we'll find the courage to go again. We'll find the courage to go again. And I can only hope that I can have you guys back. I can only hope that I can have you guys back for this broadcast. Otherwise, it was an internet glitch. Abdul Wahid, good to have you back. I think really you are joining us. That's when the internet glitch happened and we dropped. So kindly accept our sincere apologies on that one. I cannot promise it won't happen again. because I have zero control over my internet services beyond paying for my subscription. And as frustrating as it is what it is. We now just have to summon the courage to go again. But yeah, I hope all of you guys are doing okay. It's 10 minutes past midnight here in Kampala, Uganda, where you do whatever, depending. For those of you that are just joining us, Reluctant Gamer, I hope I can have you back. There. Anyways, it's that time of the season. It's time for us to talk transfers because they are now the biggest news raging on in as far as things go. A lot of things are happening, and they are happening quite thick and fast. So, are you based in the UK? No, I'm not based in the UK. I'm from a very small landlocked country in East Africa called Uganda. I'm the one that donated money. Oh, hi, Anne. Good to have you back, Anne. Yeah, Anne gave me about $6. She first gave me $1, 0.99, like $1. Then she gave me $5. Yet, I think it was today. Today, I was speaking to my brother about you, and I was saying, this Anne the stranger. When I remember when I went to my dashboard, I don't remember the exact name they had used to reference you. But thank you so much, Anne. Good to have you back. I hope you're doing all right. I did not forget. I never forget. But thank you so much for your show of kindness at that time. Thank you so much. But I hope you've been okay. The pain part I was having, every time I reflected on your name, is that I wasn't sure whether you had subscribed to the channel or you had not, because I think I've mentioned you a couple of times. Ever since then, I am okay. You have no problem. It's good to know. But thank you so much for your contribution to the growth of this channel. Much appreciated. It will go a long way to help us in the future. But thank you so much. Anyways, like I was saying, guys, it's that period of the year, and transfers are starting to take center stage. As we speak, Barcelona are seriously pursuing a deal to sign Anthony Gordon. Now, transfers are a bit funny. All through towards the tail end of the season, we have been seeing one or two clubs, actually maybe three. We've been seeing Bayern Munich highly interested in Anthony Gordon. We did mention Arsenal had some historical interest in the player, as well as Liverpool. Those are the clubs that we had registered. And then suddenly, out of the blue, just was it yesterday or the other day, it was announced or revealed that Barcelona's sporting director, that is Anderson Deco, was in the UK, apparently, to negotiate a deal for Joao Pedro from Chelsea. Remember, Barcelona are also looking for a striker. But now, reports came out today that their pursuit or interest is with Anthony Gordon. And since then, they've made a bid in the region of 70 million euros to try and sign Anthony Gordon from Barcelona, but from Newcastle. And according to Fabrizio Romano, it's a here we go. For Anthony Gordon to Barcelona. As seen, you got more popular. Thank you so much. I'm not popular, but every once in a while, I get to have the kindness of people like you, people like Breadcrumbs, people like Jesus JY815, people like Reluctant Gamer, people like Ash, that have been kind enough to buy me a cup of coffee, and even those, more importantly, that dedicate their time to be with me on the forum. So not more than you. Not more than you. So anyways, earlier on today, we did receive that Barcelona were closing in on a deal to sign Anthony Gordon, that a fee in the region of 70 million euros had been proposed, a total package rising to over 80 million euros. Apparently, Newcastle were demanding 75 million pounds. But you see, here's the thing. If a Premier League club came in for Anthony Gordon and they were serious about signing him, they were going to be forced to pay nothing less than 75 million pounds guaranteed fees, plus maybe 10 million pounds in expected add-ons thereabout. But The beauty of being a non-Premier League team is you do not get the Premier League tax. And therefore, I feel that Barcelona are benefiting from this one because about a short while ago, Fabrizio Romano said Anthony Gordon to Barcelona. Here we go. Official bid accepted now by Newcastle board and Saudi owners, 70 million euros fixed fee plus add-ons to bring final package over 80 million euros. Gordon set to travel this week for medical and contract signing at FC Barcelona. This is swift. Abdul Wahid, thank you so much for the cup of coffee. I've received it. Much appreciated. You guys do not know the significance of these small signs of kindness that you render me on this channel. You give me the courage to keep going. In August, we'll be marking 3 years of Football Tribe UG. Anyways, so that's to do with the deal with Anthony Gordon. His name has been in the media very recently in regards to players that are highly sought after. I, for one, do not rate him that highly, by the way, because really he's had a brilliant season this season, including 10 goals in the UEFA Champions League. But he's been scouted by big clubs, Arsenal, Liverpool, Bayern Munich, even PSG themselves had a mention of him. But it's Barcelona that have come in and won the race. Now, the question is, what does the signing of Anthony Gordon to Barcelona mean for Marcus Rashford? Because they both play off the left wing. If they both play off the left wing, that means the chances are that there's only going to be room for one player. So the odds of Marcus Rashford returning to Manchester United just went up by at least 50%. If the odds of him returning to Manchester United were anywhere between 10 to 15% or even 20%, they just shot up to 50 by another 50%. Therefore, that means we are oscillating anywhere around that's 60 to 75% to 70% of Marcus Rashford returning to Manchester United, because they both play off of that left wing. And remember, the deal that Barcelona had with Manchester United is that the option to buy is for 30 million euros. 30 million euros should be around 26 million pounds, thereabout. But Barcelona seem reluctant to pay that for Marcus Rashford. He's what, 27, 28, thereabout? So that's happening. It's really, really happening. The beauty of it is that now I have United Road 10 here. Says, Lolo, Barcelona are playing Rashi. He is last option, but to him, they are acting like they really want him to stay. Now, what Barcelona did was suggest that they wanted to enter renegotiations with Manchester United over the extension of his loan for another season. I do not know whether Manchester United would open to such terms and conditions, but we'll have to wait and see. But United Road 10, what are your feelings about the possibility of Marcus Rashford returning to Manchester United? I'll tell you one thing that I'm sort of convinced about is that I do not think Michael Adrian Carrick has a bone to pick with the potential return of Marcus Rashford. In any case, I think he could relish him, having him back. He knows the player, he's dealt with him before, and maybe, just maybe, he could thrive under him. Just thinking out loud. But your views on that one. Anyways, let me read some of your other comments before we proceed to other transfer stories. Oh, come on. For some reason, they're not popping up. But Raymond Kangumba says, hey, Anthony Gordon is not going to Barcelona. He's staying at Newcastle United. That's from Raymond. Raymond, I completely understand that may be your wish, but sometimes your wishes may not come true. Sometimes it is just what it is. But we are getting it from credible sources, because even including David Austin, he did put out just a short while ago saying Barcelona reached agreement with Newcastle United to sign Anthony Gordon. FC Barcelona deal for the 25-year-old winger is 80 million euros plus future sell-on percentage to Newcastle. Personal terms, fine. Bayern Munich pursued England international, but FC Bayern Munich unwilling to hit asking price. That's according to David Austin. And that post from him came 3 hours after he had brought the news that Barcelona had made a proposal to sign Anthony Gordon from Newcastle there. So really, Raymond Kangumba, as much as I would have wished it for you to have it your way that Anthony Gordon gets to stay, it looks like the offer is too good to be true. There's some clubs that come for a player, and as much as you'd love them to stay, you'd really, really understand if they make the decision to leave. Because in this world of football, there are not many players like Marco Reus, who, regardless of all interest, decided to stay at Borussia Dortmund. Players like Steven Gerrard, regardless of all the interest in his prime, decided to stay at Liverpool. There's not that many players that choose to stay with you. And you cannot blame Anthony Gordon. You're Newcastle, they're Barcelona. He watched Barcelona batter Newcastle at the round of 16 just recently. 3 on aggregate score, So you say Raymond Kangumba says, hi Piff, Jamie Ruben, Fulham versus Newcastle, final game, selling players. It's not Eddie selling players. Do not put that on him. When the news came out earlier on, Barcelona had put a proposal on the table and were waiting for a green light from the owners, the Saudis. They had the final say on the sale and in accepting the Barcelona's proposal. So please do not put it on Ed Howe's head. There, I'll defend him. So, and then you continue about him being sacked and wanting Antonio Conte. Okay. Let me see. Okay. Better this way. Okay. United Road says, I think Barcelona are putting that out to the media that they are negotiating with United just to keep Rush's camp happy in case he becomes last option. He didn't impress enough at Barcelona, in my opinion. Okay, thank you so much. I think at some point he divided the opinion of Barcelona fans, but he had a good start to the campaign and a good end to the campaign. But somehow, somewhere midway, things did not go too well for him, especially at the time when Rafinha was injured and they wanted to rely on him quite more often. I do not see a world where they want to keep him. That's United Road 10. I do not want Rashford back. He's rubbish. Doubt Carrick will allow it. And his number 10 is with Cunha now. It will be awkward. I don't think it will be awkward for a player that has been away on loan. I understand, yes, he would love the number 10, but it's already taken. They're not going to strip it over Cunha. You see, then you say, I do not like Rashford or Onana's energy vibe. They should train alone in preseason. Wow, you really detest their guts that much. I did not know that it was that bad. I did not think that it was that bad, really. But I sort of understand where you're coming from with your comments to that effect of respect. Why? Because Marcus Rashford, I do not know whether it is with absolute certainty, but he was reported to be among that group of players that was a little bit big-headed in the dressing room in a way, or for lack of a better word, a bit divisive. I do not know if that's the absolute truth to the matter, but it was reported as such. And of course, last season, halfway the season, I'm talking about 2024-2025, he went on loan to Aston Villa. That's where he spent his second part of the season. Then this season, he spent it at Barcelona. And yeah, but forget not that I think there is a group of Manchester United fans that wouldn't want him back. There's also a group of fans that would be okay with him coming back. There's a group of fans that are neither that are somewhere in the middle. They do not know what they think about it. It's okay if he comes back. It doesn't matter if he doesn't come back. That sort of place. They're somewhere in the middle. And why? Because forget not, Marcus Rashford overall has a good reputation or a good legacy within the ranks of Manchester United. Let's not forget that in the 2022-2023 campaign, which was Erik ten Hag's debut campaign, he scored, I think, about 30 goals across all competitions. And previously, he's built himself the reputation at Manchester United. And when it comes to the media coverage of Marcus Rashford, I do not think they will be very unkind of their boy. Remember, he's also in the World Cup squad. So his coverage in the English media is going to be a bit battered. When I say battered, in other words, it's going to be painted in a glossy image. He's not going to be written about like a sort of a prodigal son in a way, But if I would write a story about Marcus Rashford, I'd write a story to say the prodigal son returns, Chesnia, is it Chesina or Chesnia? Chesina says Paris is winning. Paris are already champions. They've won the UEFA Conference League final, beating Rayo Vallecano by 0-0. That goal by Jean-Philippe Matita in the second half of that game. Brilliant game of football. We did witness there, particularly in the second half. You say, is it okay to be... That's up to you. Raymond Kangoma says, Saudi Arabia... Hi, the Saudi Arabia owners out of Newcastle now, and Amanda Stevali should buy Newcastle. That's your wish again. I do not think it will pass. You just have to... Now, Raymond, find it in yourself to teach yourself to live with decisions that may be uncomfortable for you for the benefit of your team. When it comes to fans, football fans, a lot of them out there, their clubs are owned by people that they would rather not be at the helm of the club, including go to Real Madrid. Right now, there's a group of Real Madrid fans that detest the Real Madrid president in Florentino Perez. But he's the one in charge at the moment. So it is what it is. So for now, it's Piff in charge. As much as you'd want Amanda Stevali, as much as you'd want Mike Ashley to return, I do not know if that's the case. As much as you'd want, let's say, a John Texter, the Lyon owner, to come and buy you out, another Saudi rich billionaire or a Qatari or somebody from the UAE. For now, you're under Piff. I prefer we move forward with a Kropi, Junior Kropi or Ndiaye. Wow. Ilman Ndiaye, brilliant player, lacks a bit of consistency over the long course of the spell of the season. Junior Kropi, very exciting talent. Is going to be one of those sought after talents. Has scored 13 goals at Bournemouth this campaign. Only 19 years of age. He did not make it to the French national team squad, but it's understandable. They have so much talent going forward in their ranks. So I completely understand. But the other thing you ought to remember is that Marcus Rashford, hate him or like him or otherwise, he's still a Manchester United player under contract. And should the season start with no buyers, the only announcement you will get is what shirt number he will wear and that he will be at the club. I do not think Manchester United have it in them, particularly with Michael Adrian Carrick at the helm of it, to try and treat Marcus Rashford the way Chelsea treated Raheem Sterling when Enzo Maresca walked in. I do not think Manchester United are going to go to that great length. I do not anticipate it anyway. Okay. Ash says, hey, deal almost done. Robertson to Spurs. Here we go. That was my next topic. Why don't you guys buy him then? You seem to like him and you guys need a left winger. Maybe you take him. United Road, from the bottom of my heart, I give my opinion objectively as much as possible for us to have a balanced debate. And I try as much as I can to disabuse myself of any bias, if any, at any one point. But Marcus Rashford to Arsenal has never been a player of mine. I have nothing against the player. I do not think it's going to happen anyway. But yeah, maybe you could entice Chelsea. After all, they managed to take Alejandro Garnacho off of your hands. Maybe Chelsea. After all, they have the money. Try Chelsea. The number you're calling is not available at the moment. Please try Chelsea. I won't say try again later, but try Chelsea. So he's rubbish, but you want us to keep him. No. That's not why. No. It's not that I think he's rubbish. No, like I said, I've seen Marcus Rashford good long enough to appreciate him. For me, a player that comes and has one star season and then he has another star season is not the kind of player that I look at as an average player. Does he suit the? Would he suit Arsenal? I do not think so. I do not think he would suit Arsenal's sort of style. But I mean, we're talking about a player that has scored more than 80 goals for Manchester United. You know, for Manchester United, I remember his breakthrough season when he scored, I think, a brace against Midtjylland, and then he scored against Arsenal, that brace, Midtjylland in the UEFA Europa League. So he was brilliant. So you go back to, was it 2016, 2017? But I think, no, under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he had a brilliant season, one of those seasons where he was brilliant. I do not remember which one specifically, but you as a Manchester United fan, you must be remembering one of those. For example, 2018, 2019, he scored 10 goals and provided six assists. That was a 16-goal involvement. Then the subsequent year, yes, 2019, 2020, that COVID season, when COVID starts to come in 31 appearances, 17 goals, 7 assists, a 24-goal involvement. That's brilliant. And then fast forward, you get to the 2022. You can see I'm running out of battery on one microphone, so I need to swap it out. I don't know what's wrong with my microphone, but one of it is, I think it's spoiled. It just can't go the distance these days. It just can't last the distance. Anyways, away from that. But yeah, Marcus Rashford for me at Man United, I think that's where you would find his best level. Anyways, okay, I think I'd skip the comments. Okay, we're going to get to the Andy Robertson deal. Good signing for Spurs. Okay, so no. I would accept Rashford or Garnacho with both arms to Spurs. By the way, Spurs, yeah, Tottenham Hotspurs could use him. Tottenham Hotspurs could use a player like Marcus Rashford. Even Chelsea could use him. We should swap Rashford for Odegaard. No. I mean, one is a creative midfielder or attacking midfielder. The other is a winger, come striker. So no direct benefit on that one. Okay. As says, hey, we're also gonna sign Savinho. I mean, I really do not understand Tottenham's desperation or obsession with Savinho. I really do not understand it because his reputation in as far as the Premier League is concerned has little to show for it. Has very little to show for it. I stand to be corrected if he has more than 2 goals in about 50 appearances in the Premier League. So, ever since he joined Manchester City. Our sound, is it just me? It's back on. Yeah, sorry. I don't know what happened, but this other piece of my microphone, I don't know if it no longer charges. Something happened to it. It can no longer give me more than 1 hour. Of service. So I don't know what's wrong with it. Savinho was awful against Bournemouth. I mean, not just against Bournemouth. You struggle to remember the last time he had a brilliant game. I think he came on and scored against what? Was it against no, it wasn't even against Brentford. There's a game he came on and scored in against, but his goals are rare to find. Really rare to find. Anyways, let's move on. To Thigi, yes, according to Fabrizio Romano, total agreement has been reached between Andy Robertson and Tottenham Hotspur. So it's a here we go. Remember, he's a free agent wanted by Tottenham Hotspur last January, and again now with Robert Odizabi. I think Robert Odizabi has given the green light for him to be landed. Ash says, I need Mitoma. Mitoma is a good player, but he's injury prone. I find Kawo Mitoma injury prone. I find him like he's a good player, but very inconsistent, and he's troubled by injuries. You'll be taking such a huge risk on his signature. That's what I think you'll be taking. Okay. Yeah. Then the interest in regarding to Savinho is there. That one I'm well aware of it. But again, I have my reservations when it comes to Savinho. I have my reservations for on Savinho, really. We'll just have to wait and see. Meanwhile, Arsenal want £20 million for Gabriel Jesus. If you're out there and you're interested in signing Gabriel Jesus, according to reports, Arsenal want at least £20 million. Mitoma is injury prone. That's why he isn't going to the World Cup. That's true. He just completed a successful surgery on one of his hamstrings. So, would you recommend any top 6 club to try and take Lewy on a free, Robert Lewandowski on a free club? That's a bit of a difficult one. It would depend on the ambitions of that big club, because as good as a clinical goal scorer he is, he's in the evenings of his career. In terms of top 6, Tottenham, yeah. Liverpool already have Hugo Ekitike and Isak, so when is he going to play? For as long as those guys are fit, it's not going to find a way. At Manchester United, maybe, especially, by the way, at Man United, I'd recommend him there. Why? Not because he would come with the promise of so many goals. No, not that. But for a club that is just invested heavily in a player like Benjamin Sesko, I believe Sesko could have a thing to learn from Robert Lewandowski. In other words, it would be a one-year deal. What harm would that have? Obviously, they would have to invest a little bit of money. Remember, I've already mentioned that I think Manchester United need to sign another striker. First of all, the likes of Joshua Zirkzee are likely to leave, most likely to leave. Now, imagine having a player of his experience, the way at one point you guys had Zlatan Ibrahimovic, the kind of striker that can give you at least 10 goals in a campaign across all competitions, or even 15 at the very best. With Benjamin Sesko having to learn from him week in, week out, I think he would benefit them, Manchester United. Then at Chelsea, because, look at what they have. They have Liam Delap. Liam Delap has been, I voted him as, guys, I do not know. If you haven't done so, please go to the channel under the video section after this broadcast and watch my video of the 2025-2026 Premier League Awards. Liam Delap, I voted him as the worst summer signing of the season. Now, if you're Chelsea and you have Liam Delap, Joao Pedro, very brilliant, but clubs are circling around. He's been linked with a potential move to Barcelona. Arsenal have been reportedly interested in Joao Pedro. I do not know if Chelsea would be willing to sanction a deal, that kind of deal for him to go to Arsenal. That I do not think. I think it's unlikely it goes in that direction. But I don't know if Barcelona comes in. He's a Brazilian. Deco is a Brazilian. You never know. So the Chelsea could use a player like Robert Lewandowski, especially in that young squad. A lot of young players could learn from him, including Liam Delap, who doesn't seem to know either where the net is or just how to put the ball in the back of the net. A Chelsea fan joked in one of the forums we shared this season and said, even if Liam Delap had an empty net to himself, he would still not score. So that's how bad a review you can write for a striker. So he could use maybe to learn from Robert Lewandowski, and that Chelsea team as an overall, they need some experienced players. They need that leadership. So Chelsea is the other side that I would recommend him for. With Arsenal, given that they have a striker, the age profile of Victor Gyökeres, who is soon turning 28, if he hasn't already, I wouldn't recommend him there because you already have that sort of a senior striker in that sort of age. Then for Arsenal, I'd recommend a profile striker the like of a Benjamin Sesko, the like of an Hugo Ekitike, somebody that is 2023, thereabout, to then learn from Victor Gyökeres, the other way around. So that's why I wouldn't recommend him for Arsenal. But he's a good guy. I think we've done I've given my opinion with Liverpool. I would recommend him for Spurs, yes. For Man United, for Chelsea, yes. Which is the other for Arsenal? No. What's the other big side? I'm forgetting the other member of the top six. Kindly remind me. Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, Man United, Spurs. Oh, Man City. Man City, definitely not. They have brought Erling Haaland. Similarly, Manchester City, and they have this high goal scoring. They have a high scoring winger in Antoine Semenyo. They have an Omar Mamouche there, so playing time may be very limited. It's already been limited for Omar Mamouche, so how about Robert Lewandowski? So I do not think it would suffice there. But I hope I've given you my honest opinion about that. Okay. Okay. Robertson is a washed player or not? When you say washed player or not, as in he's past his prime, but he's still capable of giving you a brilliant season, by the way. He's still capable of giving you a brilliant season. First of all, he's not so injury prone. He's very good going forward. He has that long pass on him. And remember, Roberto Di Zerbi's style of football is possession based. So he would thrive in that sort of team environment. Okay. Aromal is back with us. He says, hi, brother. Yeah, true. Maybe Chelsea. I think Newcastle. Yeah, even Newcastle, it will be okay at Newcastle because they have Nick Voltmada, young striker, 23 years of age. So he could also learn from him. Johan Wyss has not worked out well by measure of his debut campaign. So even Newcastle, by extension. So I would say yes, if he's willing to sign for them. Okay, Raymond says, hi, Saudi owners are already out of Newcastle and now Amanda. Okay, I've already responded to that. Bro, Baka signed Godin. It's Gordon, Anthony Gordon. Yeah, that deal is getting done. He's set to travel for his medicals. Unless he fails his medicals, sooner or later, we could see him holding that Barcelona shirt at the Camp Nou. Okay, Raymond, you came back and said, yes, the Valley should buy. I've already reacted to that comment, Raymond. Raymond, please refrain from recycling the comments. You know better. You're such a good person on here, but sometimes when you recycle comments, especially those that I've already responded to, it doesn't make much sense, really. Gordon is second best left winger in the Premier League. Best one is Doku. Jesus Christ. In what world is Jeremy Doku better? In what world? Jeremy Doku is always idle busy. He appears to be doing a lot of things, and yet his final product is not there. He's very, very lean. His final product is very lean. Jeremy Doku is the kind of player that will appear to be busy for 90 minutes and still walk away without an assist or a goal. That's Jeremy Doku for you. He's been at Manchester City for 3 seasons now. And I keep telling you guys, for any modern day winger, you're going to be judged by your numbers, goals and assists. He's had 88 Premier League appearances, 11 goals scored, and 19 assists. So that's a what? A 30 goal involvement in 88 games. That means in 58 games, he's not contributed a thing. And that's on the average, because in one of the games this season against Everton, he scored 2 goals. By the way, by the time they played Everton, he had only scored 2 goals. 2 in the Premier League this campaign. So, in 30 appearances, having started about 11 of which were as a substitute, he scored 5 goals and provided 5 assists. The other goal he scored against Brentford, I think. Yes. That's a 10-goal involvement in 30 appearances. For a winger, and you're saying he's better than Anthony Gordon? Maybe on eye test you think he is, but when it comes to the delivery, no. Jeremy Doku, not for me. Not for me. I'm sorry. Not for me when it comes to that. When it comes to that. Not for me, really. Otherwise, unless anyway, agree to disagree. We can disagree, but for me, nah. And I feel Anthony Gordon is going to give you a bit more. So this season he's played. Even Anthony Gordon still has a lot of room for improvement. By the way, he still has a lot of room for improvement. But I would rather bet on him than Jeremy Doku. You know, Anthony Gordon has had 26 Premier League appearances, 6 goals and 2 assists. In other words, by measure of this season, he's not been better than Jeremy Doku. But when you go back to the previous campaign, that was last season, he had an 11 goal involvement. And then the 2023-2024 season, I think, is when he thrived the most. He had 11 goals and 10 assists. So that's when he thrived the most. But for me, any day, Anthony Gordon over Jeremy Doku. Okay. United Road 10. You're laughing. Raymond Kangumba said Liam Delap should sign for Newcastle. Now, you'd want to take Liam Delap? How is he better than Nick Woltemade? No. You'd rather stick with Johan Wissa, Nick Woltemade. Liam Delap? Jesus Christ. I mean, he has next season to redeem his career and reputation, but now, I wouldn't recommend him for Newcastle. Enzo to Real Madrid, a matter of time. Well, apparently Chelsea are willing to demand £120 million for any club that wants to sign Enzo Fernandez. A lot of speculation has linked him with the potential move to Manchester City, where his former boss in Enzo Maresca, who he has a good relationship with, is destined to go. But apparently he has a preference to go to Real Madrid, because remember, he said he would love to live in in Madrid, the city. He did not say Real Madrid, but he said Madrid. So Real Madrid willing to offer £120 million for his signature? I do not know. Only time will tell. But for now, his contract negotiations with Chelsea have not made much progress. Okay. You say, Raymond says Jonathan David and Liam Delap should sign, and Solanke should sign for Newcastle. Jonathan David has had a cold season at Juventus. They signed him as a free agent. Dominic Solanke, I don't think Tottenham Hotspur are going to cash on him just yet. What about United? What about United hair guy? United hair? Oh, the guy who has not trimmed his hair, waiting for Manchester United to win 5 consecutive games. Well, I think he'll get the chance to trim his hair next season. But for now, yeah, he needs to start applying for the Guinness Book of Records as somebody with some of the longest hair. Maybe. That's what I think. United Road 10, you're laughing. You say Anthony Gordon also isn't quite a high level. I'm not being biased, but best left winger in the Premier League, best is Cunha. Best is Cunha. I do not know if it's Cunha. I do not think I would say it's Matthias Cunha based on this campaign. If it were last season, maybe I would say yes. I'm not saying Anthony Gordon is miles ahead of Jeremy Doku, by the way. I'm simply saying he's better. He's better. However short a distance he is better, in my humble opinion. Jeremy Doku, so busy, end product, often lacking. End product, often lacking, you know. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with that gentleman. Okay. Robert Boatbank says, what do you think about Ebola in the UK? I didn't know there was Ebola in the UK. But I mean, it's something that can be contained. Oftentimes, when there's an Ebola outbreak, sometimes the extent of it is been blown out of proportion. For example, for the context of Uganda, I've seen Canada has placed a 90-day ban on travelers from Uganda to Canada because of Ebola. Uganda has only registered, I think, a few cases, only a handful of cases of Ebola, and the source was DRC Congo. Uganda has decided to, for now, temporarily close its border with DRC Congo to prevent any further transmission of the disease for cross-border movements. Now, guys, you see, the difficult case with such things is that when you share borders with countries, basically what you ordinarily have, you'll have family members um, live on either side of the border. So these are people that keep interacting. Then you also have border towns. People keep buying commodities amongst each other. So, the level of interaction is really, really high, which could lead to the spread of the disease. But it's not as bad as the media may want to lead you to think. When you watch some of the Western media reporting about Ebola, when it happens in Africa, you may think it's COVID-19 times two all over again. No, that's not the case. Yes, Ebola is a deadly disease, as did COVID prove to be, but it can be contained. Let's not alarm people for nothing, really. Kunya, Junior Krupi, Ndiaye, best three, okay. You say, okay. You say Kunya, Okunya, Krupi, Gordon, okay. Now, I must be honest, by the way, the Premier League does not have a lot of elite wingers, not really, because in that way, the way sometimes Morgan Rogers is deployed, I'll take him for the best left winger. Sometimes he's deployed as a left winger. Sometimes he plays inwards. It depends on how. Usually, when they play him with Emi Buendia, they play them as the double tens, sort of wingers, kind of. That's what they use for their wood. So I would go with a Morgan Rogers from Aston Villa. So, but the Premier League is in lack of really high quality wingers, in my humble opinion. Okay. Aromal says, me, I'm greater than Saka. Arsenal fans, relax. It's a joke. Aromal, we've never watched you play, unfortunately, Aromal. Yeah, Gordon is the more technical, sound player than Doku, and I like his style. He gives you a combination play. Okay. Ash says Morata had 0 goals this season. Morata should be a story of yesterday. In any case, worst right wing in the Premier League is Semenyo. By the way, Antoine Semenyo. Oh, worst right wing? No, but Antoine Semenyo is so dynamic. You can play him anywhere. You can play him on the left, on the right, centrally, behind as a 10. He's one of the best. He's had a brilliant season. He scored 15 goals and provided a couple of assists in the Premier League this season. His numbers have been quite up there, really. He's one of the best, to be honest. At least he's had a brilliant season. Like, whether you like him or hate him, at least you'll give him that this season. Because I remember when he came from Bournemouth and he had scored about 9 goals. I sort of felt like, is he really going to add much to his cause? But he came good. He came good for Manchester City. Yes, he had his stumble where he went for a period of about 2 months without scoring before scoring in the FA Cup final. But yeah, he came good. I think he came good, really. It would necessitate somebody to be really so harsh on him to rob him of his credit. Yeah, he actually scored 17 goals. 17 goals is brilliant. I don't know how many assists he provided, but 17 is brilliant. He was third top scorer in the Premier League, so you ought to give him the credit for that at least. Okay. He's everything that's wrong with modern football: goals, assists, and athleticism obsession. I mean, you see, this talent or flair of entertainment, it's not very common. It's really, really hard to come by. That's the honest bit. Even the Anthony Gordon that I'm putting about Jeremy Doku is still about goals and assists, the speed, that kind of thing. Majority of the wingers today are that. A bit of physicality here and there. But if you put the ball in between him and the defender, or at his feet and the defender, and you ask him to dribble past 1, 2, 3 defenders, there's not so many wingers that are capable of giving you that in the Premier League. I think I would struggle to even name any that are capable of giving you that. So it's we just have to accept that the sort of talent that we have present day across board when it comes to wingers is all in that bracket. Best left winger is Kvaratskhelia. I mean, we're talking about the Premier League, but I understand. Yeah, he's really, really brilliant. Best right winger in the world is Olise. Olise, Lamine Yamal, yeah, I'm not a big fan of Morgan Rogers, another goal assist merchant. Again, that's what the modern game is all about. Let me tell you, you see, you're going to have a lot of players who will give you the numbers in terms of goals and assists. But when you go to eye test, Eden Hazard is a better version of them, So unfortunately, that's where the game is. The other day, I was involved in a discussion with a whole host of people, and we're having this discussion about our appreciation of players. And my response was, or my submission was, that growing up, our watching of the game had to do, our appreciation of the game had very little to do with goals, but the entertainment that happens in the middle of the pitch before we get to the goal side. You want to see somebody being dribbled past, You want to see a wonderful pass, You want to see a beautiful control of the ball, So the goal, as much as it is the most important statistic of the game, ordinarily or traditionally, that wasn't the gist of the game. The game was about entertainment. Today, that's changed. It's all about the numbers. That is why every now and then you'll hear more and more assists being fronted. For example, the media will tell you, oh, he has scored 7 goals in the last 5 games, without telling you that in one game he scored a hat-trick, and in another game he scored 2 goals, and in another game 2 goals. In other words, out of the 5 games, he scored in only 3 games. That's how sometimes statistics can be miscued. They'll tell you he scored maybe 10 goals in the last 15 games. And yet out of those 10 goals, he has 2 hat-tricks. So in other words, when you look at the spread of the goals, they do not tell the whole picture. Okay. I'm not okay. I think Bruno is the best midfielder in the Premier League right now, accept or cry. I think he's the most effective number 10 across Europe. Bruno Fernandes, yeah. Okay. Rogers is almost at Bellingham level. Okay. Oh, wow. Bit of a hot take. Jude Bellingham has not had a brilliant season this season, nor did he have a very decent one last season, apart from his debut campaign with Real Madrid. I don't like all those goals and assist athletes who aren't technically good, okay? You're not going to get many, by the way. Modern day wingers that are really, really good at dribbling past players before they give you that brilliant goal. And by the way, because football has become such a serious business, there's a cohort of fans that doesn't care about your side of the technical abilities, that just want the numbers of it, that he will come score you goals that win you the game. That's all about it. That's why you see the world gets excited when they get to see young talents like Lamine Yamal, like Max Doman. Why? Because they're capable of dribbling past a player too before they make their next decision. That sort of thing. Okay. Says exactly that's the problem. Jude isn't good as well. Bellingham all day is greater than Rogers. That's Aromal. Ash says yes, true, very sad, 100% facts. Okay. Nuno Mendes versus Saka, part 3. We are waiting to see what that one will deliver. Raymond Kangumba returns to say, I'm not going to indulge you on that one, Raymond. It's the same comment we've discussed over and over again. True, I'm not much of a purist. Hi, Jonathan Davidson. I've already responded to that one, Raymond. Raymond, follow the conversation at least. Contribute to other things. Don't you make your life for football like it's Newcastle or nothing. And even if that were to be the case, make it diverse about Newcastle. But you always make Newcastle like it's about Eddie Howe, the Saudis. And, we've been here and you've only mentioned one Newcastle player, Anthony Gordon. You've not mentioned anything about a Nick Waltmed, a Yohan Wissa, a Lewis Hall, a Tino Livramento, a Malik Thiaw, a Dan Ban, a Nick Pope, and Aaron Ramsdale, who has been at the club on loan from Southampton. Nothing. A Bruno Guimaraes, a Sandro Tonali, all players that are attracting interest from your other big teams. But every comment has to do with either PIF, that is the private investment fund of the Saudis, or Ed Howe, or Amanda Stevali, Antonio Conte. Come on, be diverse. make the discussion more fruitful and educational and informative. Okay. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. So I was telling you guys earlier on. Do you think in 2026 a club would sell two players to a rival? I would like us to get both Tonali and Lewis Hall. It's possible, very possible. It's all about the money. Trust me, it's all about the money. First of all, if we are being honest, you see, there's two scenarios. Okay, there's more than one scenario when it comes to players. First of all, oftentimes mid-table teams want to keep a hold of their best players, but when certain clubs come, it turns the attitude or the attention of the players. They turn their heads, So you could come in and say, let's say you come in and sign Sandro Tonali, the way you've suggested there. Very good midfielder. You're not trying to sign Sandro Tonali and Bruno Guimaraes at the same time. You're saying we want a left back, a backup for Luke Shaw, or somebody that is going to be ahead of Luke Shaw, and Luke Shaw becomes a squad player, whichever way you slice it. If Newcastle's demands are you pay £50 million for Lewis Hall and you cough the money, and then they say 165 for Sandro Tonali or 70, and you cough that, so be it. It's all about the business. And remember, Newcastle have not qualified for European football this season, so they need the finances to refinance their squad, improvements. So they need the money. In fact, it was written by Sammy Mokbel of the BBC Sport to suggest that Newcastle are going to be required to sell at least two of their prized assets to finance transfers if they do not attain European football. And among the names mentioned were Anthony Gordon, Bruno Guimaraes, Sandro Tonali. Now, previously, clubs like Arsenal and Manchester City were interested in Tino Livramento, but we're talking about a guy that has missed 35 games through injury. So maybe those guys have doubled down a bit down. So Newcastle may not be able to cash in on him this summer. So it could be that Bruno Guimaraes goes. So now look at also this scenario. They could find themselves in a situation where, let's say Manchester United comes in for a Sandro Tonali, and before you know it, Real Madrid or an Arsenal or even a Chelsea, I don't think it's going to be Chelsea or Liverpool, who are all think need good central midfielders, are coming in for them, to say, look, we need, this player, and if they get to turn that player's, head, who knows which side it could end up, So anything can happen from there on. Okay, so I believe it's not easy, but it's very possible. It's not easy, but it's very, very possible. Okay, where did I stop with these comments? Okay. Oh, I'm trying to see where I left off with the comments. Sometimes I lose track when other comments come through. Okay. Okay. Aromal says real ballers know El Shaarawy is better than Saka in his prime. Okay. That's a personal opinion. Tonali or Church at Liverpool? Church? I'm not so familiar with Church. Give me another name for Church. But Tonali would be a good acquisition for Liverpool. You said, Raymond says, hi, Tino Livramento, Walter Med, Bruno Guimaraes are leaving Newcastle. Now Sandro Tonali and Lewis Hall leaving Newcastle. I mean, that would be Reluctant Gamer ad says, money talks, true. So, I mean, that would be a huge clearance. I do not think Newcastle would love to be in that sort of position where you get rid of all those players. First of all, in losing Tino, I do not think Tino Livramento will leave, by the way, unless otherwise. But his injury record over the last two seasons is very concerning, to say the least. But losing Nick Voltmart, Bruno Guimaraes, Sandro Tonali, and Lewis Hall, that amounts to almost losing the spine of the team, So But like reluctant gamer says, money talks. Newcastle could have a reset of priorities. And remember, you said true. Okay, Ash says I would take Chiesa at Spurs. Federico Chiesa, very good player, injury prone. He struggled. He's struggled to. For me, I would recommend Chiesa does return to Italy, and I think he would find good game time there, and thrive on there. Okay. He can go to a Napoli. He can go to a Lazio. Anywhere. A return to Italy would benefit him. Okay. Name one. Oh, sorry. Tino got picked up for England over Hall despite injury. Tino Livramento. Not that I recall that he's part of the. Is he part of the England squad? Not that I recall. I don't remember his name being there. And I do not have I do not have the England squad off of my fingertips here, but let me see if I can locate that team sheet within my archives quickly here. But to the best of my recollection, he wasn't among. Oh, he's on. He's on. He's on. Tino Livramento getting picked. I mean, a number of decisions that were made in that team that you and I may not see eye to eye. But the one thing I've said before is it is what it is. At the end of the day, Thomas Tuchel is the guy in charge. I did not agree with the inclusion of John Stones at the expense of a player like Harry Maguire, given the sort of season he's had. Dejad Space, I think they would have accommodated Lewis Hall as opposed, or even a Luke Shaw as opposed to Dejad Space. You see, there's something about these dynamic players that sometimes who play left, right, can play either way. Sometimes I have a couple of reservations. Sometimes, not all through and through, but I have reservations. Then when it came to, there's another player, Jordan Henderson. Jordan Henderson being picked over Adam Wharton is something that did not sit well with me, but I understand the rationale behind it. It's not one that sat well with me, but I understand the rationale. Okay. Let me see. Reluctant Gamer says, I'm a Newcastle fan. Okay. Tino got picked up. Okay. Yep. I've seen that. Name a club that wears a similar shirt to Brighton. A similar shirt to Brighton. In terms of colors, would it be Birmingham City? I remember they had all blue. I don't know if they had included the stripes. Bournemouth have a similar version, but their colors are black and red. Then let me see. Is it a Premier League club, though, or a Championship club? I'm trying to really, really think hard. Real Sociedad. Yes, Real Sociedad in Spain. They have a similar jersey with that of Brighton. Okay. That Tuchel guy is smoking something. Lolo. Yeah, some of the decisions did not make much sense. Cheers, a man of culture, says, why not just get Guimaraes instead of Tonali? He is better. I also think, by the way, I also think Bruno Guimaraes, for me, is better. Maybe the age profile, because Bruno Guimaraes is 28, I think, and 28 coming on 29, and then Tonali is 25, thereabout. But I completely concur with you on that one. I do not rate Tuchel. He's a poor manager. That's from Ash. Have I spelled him wrong? Maybe. I do not know. I don't think so. Okay, Aromal, you retracted the comment. Ash says, do you watch tennis? Roland Garros? I would have no problem watching it. But these days, I cannot even afford my TV subscription. Yes. I even feel sad admitting that. But I have no problem watching tennis. For me, when it comes to sports, there's not so many sporting disciplines that I would find on TV and turn away from them. So my TV access I have this over reliance on the internet. So I try as much as I can to catch up on other sports, but I've not watched it in a bit, by the way. Yeah, but I'd love to watch it if I had the opportunity to. Okay, how does this affect Israel? That is Stefan. How does what affect Israel? Please be a bit more specific. Harry Maguire or John Stones, who would start? Harry Maguire any day. I mean, John Stones has only played 8 Premier League games this season because of injuries, and he only started 4 of them. The other 4, he came off of the bench. So that tells you the kind of player that you're carrying into the tournament. Very injury prone, by the way, to say the least. Bro, in my opinion, 2008 Ronaldo is better than 2012 Messi in case of dominating trophies and individual awards. That's Aromal. I mean, I would struggle to have the perfect memory of accolades that season, but I know for a fact that Cristiano Ronaldo won the Premier League title that year. He won the UEFA Champions League and went on to win the Ballon d'Or. So in 2012, particularly, I do not remember what Lionel Messi won, but I mean, if you have a fine appreciation of the two players, it is what it is, you know. United Road says not taking Harry Maguire is crazy. He's our most important and consistent centre back this season, and we came third in the Premier League. I mean, Manchester City came second, but like I said, the point for me is Stones wasn't playing. But I completely agree with you. Harry Maguire over John Stones any day, broad daylight. But again, I'm not the head coach. He knows better. He's the tactical person. I know he's going to get roasted should things backfire on him at the World Cup. He'll get roasted for every single player that he left out of the squad at the expense of those that he accommodated. My only challenge with the English media when it comes to the dissecting of their national team squad that has been summoned, they spend more time discussing those that have been left out than telling us the strength of those that have been summoned, and why, maybe trying to understand the justifications of what merits them to be in those squads, Okay, Ash says Rayo Sociedad. Yep, Rayo Sociedad. La Liga team. Okay, I think Manchester City downfall starts from next season under Maresca. I do not think you're going to get the sort of downfall you may be dreaming of, because Enzo Maresca is not bad a manager or a head coach as you may want to paint him to be. I think tactically he's quite astute. He's one of the exciting young managers in terms of the role that there is on the block. There's no excuse for picking players without much sharpness and rhythm. I mean, like I said, I for one struggle to find the justifications for some of those picks, but it is what it is. I can only accept what has been presented before me, even though I may not agree with it. So I've told you who I would swap out for. John Stones out, Harry Maguire in. Dejan Space out, Luke Shaw in. That's my view of that. Even Tino Livramento, by the way. Tino Livramento. I do not know who, off of my fingertips, who I'd swap him out for, but for me, no. Okay, Adam Wharton, other than experience, I would have put him ahead of Jordan Henderson. But like I said, because within that dressing room, you have Harry Kane that can give you that leadership. Harry Maguire would give you that leadership. Jordan Pickford would give you that leadership. Bukayo Saka would give you the leadership in a different format and not very vocal, but he would offer it to you. Declan Rice would give you the leadership, maybe not the same level of experience, but these are guys that have been around the England national team for quite some time, just as much as Jordan Henderson. So that's where that one lands for me. Okay, Ash says, people who have played 8 games all season, Lolo, actually, in that backline or in those defenders or amongst those defenders, I'd rather you, instead of Tino Livramento, I understand he's a right back, but you're better off taking Miles Lewis Kelly as part of that team to play as your, because in him you'd have a left back come a midfielder if push comes to shove, because Mark Kehi, who is the centre back, can play for you at right back. Anyways, it's just my humble opinion. Ash says, I'm proud of Spence. Is there? Okay. I understand that is just you being loyal to your own team and their players. By the way, I'm supporting the African teams, so it's not my problem. Ha ha ha. Which African teams are you specifically rooting for? South Africa, Egypt, DR Congo, Senegal, Algeria, because those are some of the African teams that made it to the World Cup. Okay, Desert Space eye tests is horrible. Okay, now he's brilliant. Ash disagrees. Aromal says, bro, I've never had a regret for choosing my favorite teams, Man United and Real Madrid, and this is the only best decision I made in my life. Well, Aromal, I do not know whether you're male or female, but maybe the next best decision you had better make is the partner you intend to spend the rest of your life with. That's if you're interested. Okay, but that's a bit of sarcasm. Do not take my word for every pinpoint of it. True. You say I must support England. That's Ash, cause I support Tottenham. All right. Every single one of them except North Africa. Hey, hey, hey. But let's not get into politics. I don't think it's political. It's simply a preference. It's simply a preference. If Mariam were here from Egypt, of course she would say otherwise. But we all have our reasons for having certain inclinations when it comes to choosing the teams that we choose to support. There's that. So, anyways. Let me briefly run to that other story from David Austin regarding Arsenal are demanding up to £20 million for Gabriel Jesus this summer. Inquiries from multiple clubs for the 29-year-old striker and quoted 18 to 20 million pounds. Brazilian can go as a free agent when the contract expires in June 2027, but Arsenal not considering a cheap sale before then. I mean, 18 to 20 million pounds is sufficient for Gabriel Jesus. Yes, he may be turning 20, he may be 29, but he's sufficient. And whereas he has his struggles with injury sometimes, when you go to a league that is a bit slower, like the Italian Serie A, and by extension, one that I do not watch very, that I've not had the opportunity to watch, the Brazilian Serie A, I'd want to think that he would thrive there. First of all, he'll be at home. That's number one advantage. Two, surrounded by family, there's more positive that comes out of that, and more comfort, more ease, But yeah, 18 to 20 million pounds, that's sufficient. Let's not forget that a couple of seasons ago, West Ham signed Nicolas Fulcru from, was it Borussia Dortmund, for about 30 million pounds, when he was already 30. So, and it did not work out. So, yeah, really, 18 to 20 million pounds, brilliant. I mean, Burnley just yesterday signed Armando Broja from Chelsea for about 20 million pounds. The guy had not scored a Premier League goal in 2 seasons, to the best of my recollection, and I stand to be corrected on that fact, by the way. But even if he had scored a goal, he did not meet the valuation of 20 million pounds. Should have been loan spell with an option to buy for 10 million pounds. And a loan spell where you only pay his wages, So, but I mean, sometimes the decisions that clubs make, not that ones that we understand. I mean, Adam Wharton has been voted the man of the match for the UEFA Conference League final between Rayo Vallecano and Crystal Palace, that Crystal Palace have just won. And I mean, Oliver Glasner bows out on the highest note that any manager would bow out. The same way Andon Iraola has done at FC Bournemouth, bowing out after guiding the club to their first ever UEFA Europa League qualification for the first time in their history. Now, first of all, the Premier League is going to have another set of 9 teams in UEFA competitions next season. 5 in the Champions League, three in the Europa League because Bournemouth and Sunderland qualified. Now Crystal Palace, by virtue of winning the Conference League, have qualified. Remember, they had not finished in a Europa League place or otherwise. Then Brighton will be the Conference League. Now, going into the Conference League next season, if I'm Brighton, I'm building my squad geared towards winning the Conference League. That's going to be the objective. I may not achieve it in the end, but I'll try because it's an opportunity. Build a squad to compete sufficiently in the Premier League for you to finish anywhere in the top 10, whether it's 10th or 9th. But even if you finish 12th, it wouldn't be worst case scenario. But build your squad to win the UEFA Conference League. At least now 3 English teams have won it. That's West Ham, Chelsea, and now Crystal Palace. Okay, so that means Premier League teams have won it back to back. So those are the teams that will be representing the UK in European competitions. Of course, Arsenal, Man City, Man United, Aston Villa, and Liverpool will be in the Champions League. So they start. Like I said, the Premier League teams have continued to make the Premier League proud. Aston Villa winning the UEFA Europa League. Now Crystal Palace, the UEFA Conference League. The ball is in Arsenal's court to bring that trophy with the big ears home. You know? Okay. Anyways, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see how things go with that one. Let me get some of more of your comments. Okay. Oh, Jesus Christ. Where did I stop? But South Africa, mostly because I've lived there for a long time. Okay. Oh, you live in South Africa. What part of South Africa? Cape Town, Joburg, Johannesburg, Pretoria, Durban, Soweto. Which part? I mentioned them like I've ever been there before. There's that street. Is it called Santon? Is it called Santon, where the rich people live? Anyways, okay. He said true. Okay, I'm Indian, but my national football team is Guta. Okay. Hello, everyone. Sorry, here everyone obsessed with cricket. I mean, I've said this time and again. The one thing I appreciate about the people from India, especially those that visit online communities, is that those guys have continuously supported me. Previously, they would come on my lives and at different intervals, and somebody will tell you that they are a cricket fan and they do not know much about football, but the little bit that they know about it, they'll interact with you and spend the time with you. So I really, really appreciate India for that, or Indians for that. They have a knack for supporting online communities, especially budding creators. You request them to subscribe, and they will subscribe and say, they write their English that you cannot condemn them for. That is where you sort of need to piece things together to understand their message. But I really, really appreciate their support so much, so much. They're very kind people when you're interacting with them online. I've even been extended invitations to travel to India, but maybe, God willing, if the finances permit in the future, it will be on the bucket list. Okay. Says, okay, Loro, Saka, greater than Ronaldo and Messi. Let's not give that one the time of day. Cat equals reason. Anthony is good naturally, typically Brazilian. That is from Sarayan. Which Anthony? Oh, the one formerly at Man United, currently at Real Betis. I'm sort of mixed about that. Anyway, Brazil has not been producing a lot of great talents lately, other than Neymar and a couple of others. Recently, we are beaming over a Ryan, a 19-year-old at FC Bournemouth, who joined them in January from Vasco da Gama, went on to score 5 goals and provided 7 assists. Anyway, I'm also from India, and I agree with you, Ash. That is Aromal. Here, football is played by politicians. Really. There's somebody called Tana from India. they've been supporting me here on the channel by, following the conversation. And every time they arrive on the channel, the first thing they type, or the first three things they will type, will be Sunil Chatterjee. That's India's, greatest football player of all time. So there's that. Okay. I have nothing against Indians with their love for cricket. The same way Americans love American football more than anything, and basketball and other sporting disciplines. That soccer comes, like, I don't know, if anywhere around number 3, if not number 4, on the sporting discipline list that is most followed, and as far as USA is concerned. Okay. You say Cape Town, yes. Okay, Cape Town does appear to be a very, very beautiful place. Hope I can visit there one day too. United Road says, wow, you know a lot. Okay, thank you so much, United Road, for your kindness. You see, the thing about content creation and when I come here to talk about football, I often acknowledge one thing. There may be a lot that I know, but there's also a lot that I don't know. And oftentimes, I'm learning from you guys. You guys do not know how much I learn through your interactions, when you remind me of certain things, of certain players. When I go back to some forums in TikTok spaces where, I interact with a couple of other people. Every day on a constant basis, you're learning from people. People share with you what historical events, current events, you guys know a lot. And particularly when it comes to your respective teams, sometimes you're more updated with your teams and the ins and outs of your particular teams that you follow. So I'm also equally learning from you. So thank you so much for your show of kindness. Okay. Yes, Santon in Joburg. Okay. Neymar will have a good World Cup. I've been watching his Santos games. That is Sir Ryan. He still could do a shift. That's what, as a person that supports the Brazil national team, that is all I can hope for, because he is the best creative spark that Brazil side can have. Rafinha and Vinicius Jr. have not yet given us what they do at club level when they come back to the national team. Okay. Ash says his super mid won't. I did not get that quite clearly, Ash. Even get into Wolverhampton Wanderers? Do I really get it? Now, the problem or the challenges with Wolverhampton Wanderers is that over the last many years, they've been losing great talents, but their replacements of those players has not been good. You go back to the time when they had Ruben Neves, Joao Moutinho. They had Podence, Diego Jota, may his soul rest in peace. They had Raul Jimenez. They had Matt Doherty. Those sorts of players. Over the years, when they've gone Pedro Neto, when they've lost those players, their replacements of those respective talents has not been really, really spot on. So they digressed gradually and continue to lose talents. Including most recently Jürgen Strand Larsson, even though he had only scored one Premier League goal. That's fine, the campaign, and they saw a good £45 million deal from Crystal Palace and said, we'll take it. And now Crystal Palace that have qualified for the UEFA Europa League, despite failing to move on Jean-Philippe Mateta, that was destined for AC Milan, had it not been for his failed medical, they'll look at it and say, I think we can keep them both. After all, we're going to be competing in the Premier League and the UEFA Europa League. So it would be good to have them around, including Edin Ketia, who's been out through injury for quite some time. So we shall just have to wait. But with Wolverhampton Wanderers, their replacements of players, when they lose good players, has not been good, has not been really, really good. And that's the recruitment department is something that they really, really need to improve on. But they were very good at scouting players, especially during the time when Nuno Espirito Santo was still their head coach. Okay, Messi or Ronaldo? A random person said Sadio Mane. Guys, I've been blessed enough to watch those two legends of the gameplay over the last 15 or so years. Cristiano Ronaldo a little more than Lionel Messi, because at the time of their rise, I did watch Cristiano Ronaldo more at Manchester United than I did Messi in his early days at Barcelona. But Really, really, it's been a pleasure watching them. So for me, I wouldn't choose this or the other. They just are both brilliant in their own respects. You said true. Okay, I was saying Sanil Cheteri. I won't even get into the Wolves team. I mean, he's come of age. He's come of age. Yeah, Cheteri was a box merchant. Life was good when I used to see F2 freestyle. Okay, now life was good when Cristiano was racing against Bugattis. I don't know what that's about. Which team has best possession game? I think PSG. Best possession game, like unless you're saying between Arsenal and PSG. But if you are going to go around the world, I talk of I think Barcelona, Man City, Bayern Munich, PSG, that sort of feel, you know, that sort of feel. So I think that's where it would land. Okay. Um, Sundowns oh yeah, Sundowns. By the way, they are the champions of Africa. They did win their second accolade of the CAF Champions League. You said okay, top three. PSG, Ban, Man City. Okay. Aromal says, bro, Iniesta or Modric. They played different roles. How you see when I have a fine appreciation of two players in comparison, and when they played two different roles, because Modric was an 8 and Iniesta played more as sort of a 10, because you had Xavi and Busquets in the same Barcelona team at the time, and the same way you had Casemiro, Modric as okay, yeah, okay. Modric also played as a 10 because he played alongside Cruz, but I think if I wanted a dribbler, I would go with Iniesta. If I wanted a fine pass, I'd go with Modric. If I wanted a long shot from distance, I'd go with Modric. If I wanted um, an easy tap-in goal, I'd go with Iniesta. If I wanted a bit more physicality, I'd go with Modric. So they're both brilliant, but I'd go with Luka Modric. At the end of the day, I think Luka Modric slightly above Iniesta, in my humble opinion. Okay, Cruz or De Bruyne. Wow, that's difficult. In a world where statistics are not a thing, Tony Cruz any day. In a world where statistics of assists and goals are not a thing, Tony Cruz any day. Controlling a game, Modric, yep. Iniesta was a dribbler, yep, okay. Pirates beat them to the Premiership, though. Yeah. I mean, I saw the celebrations of the Pirates, and I mean, but Sundowns have been quite dominant for quite some time. I saw our man Dennis Masinde Onyango celebrating the CAF Champions League triumph. Their first, I mean, that is their second, as their first having come in 2016. So really, it was really, really brilliant to sort of observe them win. I did not watch the game in real time. I only watched it in replay between the two sides, and yeah. Although this thing of a double header for the final, it's not something that I really, really fancy. It's not something that I really, really fancy. It's something that's I feel like I feel like it should be one game, and let's have the whole spirit and gist of it. Thoughts on Gordon joining Barcelona? That's Steph Deck. I mean, it's a little bit of a surprise for me, by the way, that Barcelona have come in for Anthony Gordon. I do not rate him very highly as a left winger, but I wait to see whether Barcelona can bring the best out of him. Because until Hansi Flick arrives at Barcelona, Barcelona were pondering moving on Rafinha. So who knows what he could milk out of him as a player. So I wait to see. Okay. Ash says Bruno or Iniesta. I'd go with Iniesta, but Bruno is more effective. If you were like if you put out the statistics of goals and assists, I'd go with Iniesta. I feel like Bruno's numbers could be better overall, and he's a very consistent player, by the way. Ever since he came to Man United, I don't think he's had a campaign where he's contributed less than 15 goals between goals and assists in a Premier League season, even including his first half season when he arrived in 2020 at Man United. I think he scored about 8 goals and provided 7 assists. So, Assalamu alaikum, brother. That is Stefan Dek. Assalamu alaikum. Walaikum salam. Thank you so much. Okay. I may be Figo for Alexia. That is Aromal. Figo for Alexia. Okay. Pedri or Vitinha. Present day, I'll go with Vitinha. Who is better, Gordon or Williams? Which Williams? Nico Williams or Inaki Williams? Nico Williams has had a very bad season, by the way, with Bilbao this season. I do not think he sort of had the numbers. I do not think he had the numbers. This season. I do not think he had the numbers in as far as this season was concerned. So come on. Okay. But yeah, it is what it is. Oh, there's some Nico Williams. Yes, Nico Williams. He's not had a brilliant season. He sort of struggled through it. When you look at his numbers, this season only 6 goals and 3 assists. Bye, mate. That's Ash. Bro, current time in your country, Aromal, it's 37 minutes past 1 a.m. Yes, 37 minutes past 1 a.m. So allow me wish you a blessed night, guys. Let me do my special mentions. But before we sign it out, because hopefully, guys, if you do not see me in the morning hours, it means power issues. That's why. I was unable to do our morning broadcast. But I wish to send out my special shouts to Summer Banks, Mildred Chelsea, Mitchell Wainscott's Gladiator. I know you've been busy lately and you've not been able to join us, but greetings, shout outs to you, my friend. Alex Alinaitwe, Steve Inimbara, Mwami Isaac, Viola, Becky, thank you so much, guys. Ash, it's been a pleasure. Aromal, thank you so much. Steph Deck, I hope you've subscribed to the channel, but thank you so much for your presence tonight. United Road 10, always a pleasure to have your company and your engagement. Thank you so much. Sarayan, it's been a pleasure having you around on board. Then, I hope I don't miss people's names. Okay, I'm trying my best not to do so. Abdul Wahid, thank you so much for the cup of coffee once again. Raymond Kangumba, always a pleasure. I hope you and I can improve our interaction. Chesna, thank you so much for having been part of it. Your old Matty Lewis, thank you so much for having been part of the broadcast. Anne, thank you so much, Anne. You were with us earlier, and it was one of the first people to buy me a cup of coffee on here. Okay, Gradao Games, always a pleasure. Sino Bueno, it was nice having you. You made my night earlier on in the broadcast. Chipes, always a pleasure to see you around, my brother. So Prime Nasri, it was good to have you for the first time on the broadcast. Thank you so much for having kept me company, and for having dedicated your time to be with me all throughout the course of this podcast. You make it worthwhile every single time that I do come here with you. I thank you for your time, your contribution, those who like the broadcast, those who are unable, those who commented, those who didn't comment, but you're there behind the scenes watching. My brother Kato Morris, my brother Morris Kato, thank you so much. Michael Matovu, Morris Kamgisha, Mwami Isaac, every single one of you out guys there that watch this broadcast, those that watch this broadcast long after they've ended, it's been a pleasure. Tonight, we're talking about Crystal Palace as we watch them win the UEFA Conference League final, beating Rayo Vallecano by goal to nil. That goal scored by Jean Felipe Mateta was enough to decide the tie. Anthony Gordon is destined for a move to Barcelona. Andy Robertson looks like he's destined for a move to Tottenham Hotspur. There's going to be lots of transfer speculation. The World Cup is around the corner. We're about 13 days away from kickoff. Even though the heat of the campaign does not feel so much in the room, but we'll get there eventually. For now, we have a Champions League final to look forward to. I hope that tomorrow I can find the time, provided I have power and access to internet, to do our preview for the UEFA Champions League final and then have it on the channel. Otherwise, it's been a pleasure. Always good to have you guys around. Thank you. Stay blessed, and I'll see you guys next time. I hope God rewards you with all your most heart desires. Let me call it a night with 41 minutes past the hour of 1 a.m. Bye-bye.